Howdy-o, everyone! Velocity here, back in action for more The Great Ace Attorney attraction. That's right, we got finished with The Great Ace Attorney Adventures last year on a stream. And this year, we're gonna go ahead and let's play The Great Ace Attorney 2, Resolve. I have not played this game before, but suffice to say, they are connected games, people, so you need to brush up on that part in case you haven't, in case you really want to see this part. But suffice to say, I'm really excited. I hear this is one of the best games in Ace Attorney, simply for the fact that it builds off of this game. They are connected games, and part of the pleasure of it is doing just that. I apologize, it's not a Let's Play, but I'll make sure to go ahead and link the playthrough that I did of The Great Ace Attorney. So with that being said, let's go ahead and... Wait, hold on. Okay, it may have been more than a year, but yeah. In my mind, it's been a year. The Great Ace Attorney 2, Resolve!
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital. You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
I find myself faced with another awful crime. Well, the Swan Lady? She's back?
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
Let's go! Let's go!
So please,
oh, damn.
I ask for your guidance. Kazuma-sama.
Episode 1. The Adventure of the Blossoming Ace Attorney. I guess it says Ace Attorney. No, you just... 13th August, 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court of Judiciary. Defendants. Antique Chamber 3. Here I am again after 9 months. Supreme Court Jurisdiction of Japan. I feel so nervous. I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Oh, good. You're here. Doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh yes. Good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, Consul. But you look as white as a sheet. Those white eyes aren't doing you any favors, either. Oh, dear. The truth is, I'm incredibly nervous. I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish I'd never been born. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Yuji Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advancements in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me. Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Yes. Yes, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication, the whole thing! Ray, Membami, born the same year as I, and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in her time, she works at the University Research Laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial, accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, you've become a little flushed. Oh my, it's just that you look so gallant and dashing. Let's go! Yuri, let's go! Let's go! Oh my god. We love to see it. I love it when girls cross-dress and like other girls fawn on them. It is just the best. It is the best. I love it so much. My Fujoshi brain. It's arriving. It's becoming peak. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. She's gay, fam. She's gay. Sasatra just seeing her friend like totally fall in love with her, and she's just like, what can I do with this information? Not this is disgusting, but literally just her little ellipses. Goodness, I don't think she knows. Hasn't realized who I am. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? If your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we could relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? Is that you, Sasata? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner. Alright. No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, that varsity cape, the varsity cape, the varsity cap, the varsity badge. Look at you! You look for all the world, just like a student of the Imperial University. A male student. I'm so glad you think so. It means all the preparations have been worthwhile. I woke up at 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? I want you to know that she did not backtrack her statement. She did not do it. She's still having the hots for her girlfriend. A girl who is a friend, but perhaps could be a girlfriend? Well, you see, it was the only way. Me, when I have to get the girl into a tux, it's the only way. And I'm sorry, we have to do this in order to fool all the straight people. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial. My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated, having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barren to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. She literally just said, like, we're both girls, though. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I could act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato, you go to such lengths for me. She's still on it. Bam, she is not like, you know? Of course, you're my greatest friend. I'm just saying, I couldn't see the difference between Edgeworth and Phoenix Wright in the first game. I see this almost instantaneously in this game with these two. I understand. People probably would cross-dress for their friend to, like, save their life, but at the same time, this girl does not have any inflation that she has to, like, fawn over her friend or, like, not retract her statements, and she doesn't. Okay? I'm gonna say this. Yeah. I found her guilty of being gay. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Hey. So strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman. What a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. She doubled down. She doubled down. Bam. Bam. Ooh. I didn't know I was gonna have this much Yuri. Ray? Please don't look at me like that. With those flushed cheeks and batting eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just... really do look so dashing. Keep doing it! Keep doing it! Yes, I mentioned that once or twice. Ha 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 ha! You should be pleased. Means you look convincing as a man. I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Hey, I'm managing you to put on a brave face in all this. I can see through it. I notice how your shoulders are slumped, and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Susato, you do believe me, don't you? Didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder. Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in your mind about your innocence, which is why I stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. That's what it means to be a defense lawyer. That means so much to me, Sato. Defendant, counsel. Court's about to begin. See to the courtroom at once. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Oh. Stand aside! I don't think I ever seen her run so fast. Well, Susato, certainly surprised your father. going to such lengths to be admitted into a courtroom. I have no prior experience of being a lawyer. There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this? Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with it. Is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim is? We should be making a move now. 2. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, Father. I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on the study trip to Great Japan, Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished that he were here? I wonder. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. August, 9 a.m. Supreme Court, Judiciary, Courtroom 1. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Bobby. The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. Yes. Yeah, she does look very dashing, I'll be real. I'm seeing it. I'm getting it. Yeah, please. Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency. We are ready. Ready! Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is... Rutararu Naruhodo. Is that correct? Sorry? Oh, yes. I had to come up with a suitable male name for you, for this little adventure. Afraid to say I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel? Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes. I am Rutaro, he who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. It seems, Ryotaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first, and not overdo it. Those wild eyes aren't doing you any favors, either. Just relax and listen. Naruhodo? A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be? You may be thinking of Renosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. That is, his cousin! That's right. Ryotaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of the law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Any of them? What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, and the accused has never had to call it a country boy. dare you? Susato is every bit as gallant and dashing as you. Attorneys, she's oh my god. She is down bad for her friend. She wants to, I won't have you making fun of her. Please be careful, Ray. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not. I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes are, won't to flint. The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance of our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire. Just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet, for proceeding of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock? Dear me. Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense. Determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now. This same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed a test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, Counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions? Alright, it's time to prove myself. She's so cute. Oh my god. Yes, Your Excellency. Just make them simple. Very well. Start with, you will state the name of the victim. Oh, that is simple. I'd forget that if I tried. What's the matter? I'm standing in his shoes, trying to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are, wont to blank. Not surprising, really. Your first time in this position, and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter, little under the circumstances. Oh dear, this is a smell failure. Don't fret. You need only the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record. That's right, just use that. Okay. Then you need to flip to the people section with that. And don't take too long, over it. His Excellency is watching you closely. Alright. Check the court record with that. What information I need will be. Jesely Brett, female, British, time of death 11th August, at around 2 p.m. Asserted by examination and witness statements. Cause of death, single a deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung and resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Notes, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction was observed in the victim's eyes. Okay, then we got pupil. So this is Arfada, a medical school professor at the Imperial Yume University. He is a 30 in forensic medicine in charge of the university's laboratory. He also happens to be my father. Ray Membami, 16. My best friend who works as assistant to my father at his laboratory at the Imperial Yume University. She's a defendant in this case. So the victim of this case, who was former British exchange student, 9 months ago, she was found guilty of the murder of visiting professor Dr. John Wilson. Takesuchi Uchi, the lead prosecutor of this case, who appears to be struggling to accept changes afoot as a result of these turbulent new times in Japan, the Meiji era. Like Meiji chocolate? Okay. I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case? Giselle Brett.
Yes!
The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Jezebel Brett. Giselle Brett? A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our Empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why then is her name indelibly associated with our own Empire's judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that the case from 9 months ago. But it's providing hard to recall the finer points. Everything you need is included in the court record. Obviously, don't remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett, behind the woman's student persona, was the face of Queen Victoria, a killer.
Yes!
9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett. Yes, and she was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain. And it was the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of Englishmen on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year language student by the name of Renosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion. Immediately after the trial, the British government brought in a consular judiciary into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our Empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead. Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship. And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed. Only the day before? That will do. I'm satisfied that the Council of the Defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant. Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency, for the first hurdle. Now a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Uchi? As is your wish, Your Excellency. A repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August, in broad daylight. On the outskirts of the imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, the secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung, an injury which proved fatal. There were two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett, in her bathing attire, and the accused, Ray Mimbami. Accordingly, there could be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we considered she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady. Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say. Certainly true. The prosecution summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. Although I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about being alone together, a powerful motive. A powerful motive. You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement. Tut tut tut. Is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? I beg your pardon? No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Mimbami-san, you're a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe. Yes, I am. I'm working for Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment. I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility. Fascinating to hear. Now another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then? Oh, well, I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson. Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago? The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true? Yes. Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man. Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you have towards the Englishwoman who killed him. Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray. Be careful of what you're saying. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency. Well, it was clearly a trap all along. Wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. Let's find out more details and something we could use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution's counsel on what he said about being alone together, the bathing spot. If I may, Oscar, Uchi. What do you want, you fresh-faced, young yokel student? I wonder, can you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot? My apologies. Clearly my, modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is, curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins. No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? Old time's sake, I believe. Sorry? Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British embassy put extra pressure on our government to comply. But on what grounds would we agree to such a request? Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. This is actually pretty true. In matters of diplomacy, we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal. Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong. But in fact, a murder took place. I said don't look at me! It was that young student girl who did it, not I! No one has proven that yet. That would have provoked the man if you don't need to. At this stage, I need to gather more information. I think... The lawyer, yes. Okay. Being alone together. Winky face. Mambambi-san. Yes, what is it? Naruhodo-san. I starting to wish they named my alias, Rotaro Susato. Please tell the court why exactly you were presented at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place, and why you were alone with her. Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present, a detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion. That's all. But let us be clear. At the moment of death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there's only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing, jonjure. It was the accuser's last chance to take the victim's life. No! Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett exonerated to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again. Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel. I believe you all have a clear picture of the incident now. despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago. Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration and instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions. In the murderer of the mentor for whom he had such great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty? Yes, even if it was only temporary, until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. I can only blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Ray? So, Your Excellency, if you be so kind as to pre-use this exhibit. A photograph print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident. Dang. Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image. As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden. The court will accept this photographic print as evidence. Yay! Crime scene! As I understand it, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant. Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence. Witnesses? But who? One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt. Very well then, Counsel. Bring forth your witness. And we'll see that witness next time. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you can. Sayonara. Bye-bye.